Okay, I want to talk a little bit about a country's national debt and the importance of devaluation of currency in order to keep that debt somewhat sustainable. The national debt, for example, ours here in the US is around between 16 and 17 trillion dollars right now. The debt itself is not really a problem. As long as we're devaluing currency to pay for those numbers we know as debt, that is not a problem because we can always print more money to get ourselves out of this debt, which in return results in devaluing our currency, which in return results in having us needing the need for us to raise our minimum wage and the need for us to raise prices on products we buy. So in a sense, you're making $50,000 today. Next year you need to be making $100,000 in order to be able to buy the milk, which costs $1 today but will cost $2 next year, and the minimum wage will have to grow by an appropriate amount to accommodate for the lower class to be able to keep up with this devaluation. Again, this paradigm is not really an unsustainable one because we could continuously do this and mathematically always just pay more numbers for goods, but as long as we pay ourselves more numbers to keep up with paying for more numbers, which when I say numbers I mean prices, to keep up with these higher prices, it's not a problem. When it does become a problem is at the speed at which this debt starts accumulating. That is the portion which kills economies. As soon as this debt starts growing at a faster and faster rate, and as it by its nature will grow at a faster and faster rate, it becomes difficult for this to trickle down to the lowest class and then the middle class and then to the upper class, meaning that the people who are at the bottom who make those small wages, their salary or hourly rate will not go up fast enough to keep up with this debt which is spiraling out of control. Because economies are so massive, it is impossible to trickle a speedy spiraling debt, trickle it down to those lower classes. Basically, we would have to be at some point to the point where we're raising minimum wage on a weekly basis. Then it would have to be raising our minimum wage on daily basis. Eventually hourly, minute, until obviously the whole paradigm self-implodes. So therefore, a lot of people talk about national debt and how it's a problem. No, a debt is not a problem. It is definitely not an ideal system. It is a dysfunctional system by all means, but the debt itself is not a problem. The speed at which that debt is growing is the problem. Eventually it gets first rid of the lowest class, then it catches up to the middle class, all the classes in between, and then to the upper class until obviously it reaches a critical mass, at which point the working class, which sustains the nation itself, is not capable of existing, and thereby the whole system again crashing. Solutions, as I've mentioned before, at this time it's probably the only one is the primitive one of going back to a currency that is based on something finite. For example, currency that is based on gold or silver. It has to be based on something finite, and when I say finite, I mean semi-finite, in order for it to be sustainable. This obviously will be true until we become self-aware and we will not need gold to base our currency on. and our currency can be based on something a little bit less primitive.